You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of a short story through to line edits of a full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill, a breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help, just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Schaap. You may know me from ESPN's Outside the Lines and Sports Center. What you probably don't know is that I've suffered from Crohn's disease for almost 20 years. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America's Take Steps, Be Heard walk program is the largest national walk program dedicated to raising funds and awareness to combat Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. To learn more about how you can help and to find a walk site near you, please visit www.cctakesteps.org.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and practice an escape plan for you and your loved ones. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Hi, I'm Hillary Duff. As a mom, I'm proud to support the March of Dimes in helping more women have full-term pregnancies and healthy babies. That's why I walk in March for Babies. The money we raise funds research and local programs that help babies overcome the challenges of premature birth and birth defects. Sign up today at marchforbabies.org. Together, we can help make healthier babies possible for thousands of families.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
This morning, Twitter and Facebook are in trouble again. What the White House has to say about all the Donald Trump snooping, the White House present and past, what neighbors are finding in the skies over their houses and their backyards, and something surprising from the NYPD, that and a whole lot more. Stay tuned.
And now, live from the bunkerized studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, it's Rod Eccles.
And a good morning to you, one and all. Thanks for being here. It is I, your lovable host, L. Rod. Indeed, here it is on Tuesday, April number 4 in the year of our Lord 2017. It is a very dark, gray, cloudy, rainy morning here in northern New England. I guess better rain than snow, although they are telling us possibility of snow showers later today as the temperature heads back south. So much for the global warming stuff. Call in number 603-835-3226. This afternoon, by the way, at 2 o'clock, I will be appearing on Southern Sense radio program. Now, you can find Southern Sense is on a number of different. She's syndicated. She's a small syndicated program like mine, but she's also on Blog Talk Radio. So if you go to, I don't know the stations that she is currently on, but she's mostly in the South. She's out of the Carolinas. Annie, great person. I actually spoke at one of the groups that she's a member of down in the Carolinas, heading on about a year ago now. Had a great time down there. Fantastic people. Found out that's where a lot of if people aren't going to Florida, they're going to North Carolina from New Hampshire. There are a lot of New Hampshireites, retired New Hampshireites, and Mainers. Conservative New Hampshireites and conservative Mainers that have retired and moved down to North Carolina. I was trying to chastise them all and tell them to move back because we need them up here. But in any case, yeah, it's on Blog Talk Radio. I'll be on there at 2 p.m. this afternoon Eastern Time. Southern Sense. Call in number 603-835-3226 here. One of the things that I am really getting, I'm losing patience for. Now, I'm not getting ill-tempered, not yet, but I'm losing patience for it. And and I know it's social media, but what I'm getting tired of is people coming to my pages on various social media, and it really seems to be certain social media, especially. Facebook doesn't seem to have this problem. But the alt social media out there, things like We Me and Tea Party, whatever it is, they tend to these conspiracy theorist nut jobs tend to gravitate towards places that are not in the mainstream. In other words, they seem to be leaving Twitter and Facebook and going to the alt social media, which is fine. Except, why do you have to load up my pages with your conspiracy garbage? I'm not all about that. I'm sorry. This whole thing, I think I've had enough of hearing about the chemtrails. There's no evidence of chemtrails. I'm sorry, there isn't any. If those wonderful trails that you see in the sky, that's called water vapor, and you can actually recreate that in middle school science class. Things like that. Well, I did. It's not all of that mysterious. You would think that with all the jets flying all around the world, and with all the pilots flying, and all the maintenance crews that put this, that fill the planes up and maintain the planes, that somebody would come forward with some real proof. After 2 decades of this stuff going around, we're being poisoned to death. After over 2 decades of supposedly actually it's more than that. It's going back to Vietnam. So, 50 or 60 years, you would think that somebody would come forward, would have the guts to come forward, and all that time, and with evidence, and saying, we're actually being the chemtrail thing is real. Nobody's come forward. Nobody with any credibility has come forward. There is no evidence of it. All the evidence you see is people on the ground filming jets in the sky. And you nut jobs out there, that you libertarian nut jobs, not the sane ones, but the sane Libertarian Party has been taken over by libertarian nut jobs who are nothing more than anarchists. Everything is a conspiracy to take over. It's a fascist corporate cabal with big governmentist and socialist, and I mean. Why do you post this stuff on my pages? Why when you respond to something on one of my posts, you come back with a response that has nothing to do with the post, but it espouses your conspiracy theories? I mean, it's annoying. Because I don't know how many times some of these conspiracy theories have been debunked. I don't know how many times we have to debunk them with real evidence. But people will believe what they want to believe, in spite of the evidence. And some people can say, well, you can say that about religion, Rod. Christ never existed. Au contraire, mon frère. There is lots of archaeological, physical, and historical evidence that Jesus Christ actually did roam, walk the earth. But this other stuff is just. Now, I'm not saying that it's not possible or plausible for them to do cloud seeding or do some sort of chem spraying with jets, but this notion that just about every international flight and cross-country flight in that ever takes off is up there specifically to poison us. What's it supposed to do? If it's supposed to make us compliant, what is the whole purpose of the chemtrail spraying? If it's supposed to make us dumb down, okay. I mean, that's probably working. But if it's supposed to make us more compliant, more docile, more accepting of government and big government, well, it's not working. Obviously. It's not working. And this whole, I mean, it also with you lefties out there, you guys need to be more consistent. If you expect anybody to take you seriously, you need to shed this inconsistent, hypocritical attitude of yours. I mean, it is so blatant, and they're not even ashamed of being hypocritical. I mean, Chuck Schumer is the biggest one out there right now, the evil elf. I mean, how do you explain, Lucy? The President Trump's travel limitations and travel ban is almost mirrored that of President Obama's travel ban. How do you praise President Obama's but despise President Trump's? How do you say it's the right thing to do at the right time under President Obama, and under President Trump you say it's bigoted, it's mean-spirited, it's racist, and it's anti-Islamic? How do you do that without being a hypocrite? So, if anything, you on the left, you don't even just like conspiracy theorists, you conspiracy theorist nut jobs, you don't even realize that your stupidity, your hypocrisy, your idiocy is turning people off. You might otherwise, if you were more honest about things, or showed some proof about things, or were consistent about things. Conspiracy theorists also are very inconsistent, as well as liberals. If you're more consistent about things, you might win more converts. And after all, isn't that what you want? You want people to believe you, right? I mean, isn't that what it's all about? Are you not trying to convince people to come to your side of the fence? If you're not, then what's the whole deal? What's the purpose of your being? Why do you do what you do if you're not out there to convince other people? No, look, I'm here to convince people to think logically. I make no two bones about it. So if you're not out there to convince people, and when was the last time you actually saw somebody being bashed over the head, being totally convinced of your position? No, I'm serious. You guys out there rioting, and you're forming these violent militias. When was the last time that has ever worked on the masses of people? Anywhere, anytime in history? It hasn't. So I'm convinced that you're not interested in winning converts because you're nut jobs. I don't care if you're a libertarian nut job or if you're a radicalized leftist nut job. You're nut jobs. You're not out there trying to convince people. You're just out there trying to force your will on other people. And for you conspiracy nut jobs, that is an oxymoron in your part. You are so desperate to foist your opinion on somebody else that you're not willing to just convince them by the facts to come to your side of the fence and fight with you. You just want them to believe you no matter what. That's not going to convince anybody. And if you leftists, if you think going out there and rioting, that's not protesting. Rioting and beating up people and burning limousines and smashing storefront windows and throwing out, and looting stores, who the hell is that going to convince? Except another nut job. You're not going to convince the masses. So, if you want to engage me on social media, fine. I will be more than happy to engage you. I mean, I normally do a 3 in and 3 out type of thing. I'll respond 3 times, no more than 3 times. But sometimes, especially if it's on my page, I'll keep the conversation going because I know nobody else is reading, and it's just between the two of us. And you people out there that try to take me on, and we end up with a 30 comment, tit for tat. Understand, nobody else is reading that. The funny thing is that you think somebody else is. You think everybody who's on my page is following. No, the attention span of the average person, especially on social media, is usually about 3 to 5 responses. That's it. They don't read past that. So when you're engaging me, it's just for my fun. I'm just having fun teasing the hell out of you after that. And you guys fall for it every single time I go past number 5. Response number 5. You guys always fall for it. It's funny as hell. I mean, sometimes you annoy me. But it is kind of funny to see how far you'll go with it. And I've had literally there have been 50 comments between two people. Me and whoever the other nut job is. Yeah, I know nobody else is reading that stuff. It's just between me. I just love tweaking them. I don't know. Is that mean of me? And they fall for it every time. I know I'm giving away my secrets now. But you know what? You libertarian nut jobs and you fascist leftists, you guys are so gullible that I can tell you to your face all I'm doing is tweaking you, and you'll still fall for it. It's the funniest thing ever. But it is getting kind of annoying that you start pasting this stuff and posting this stuff on my pages, and you have no evidence for it. And it's really annoying. And especially when it has nothing to do with what the post is. Hey, they want to. The government wants to steal your kids by keeping them longer every day. Yeah, that's with all those chemtrails up there, Rod. That's what what does chemtrails have to do? Everything is. It just seems like nowadays all the world's problems are due to chemtrails. Well, if chemtrails are the problem, you'd think they'd stop the chemtrails by now. Thought chemtrails were out there to solve the problems, to make us more zombie-like and more compliant. Well, that's not working. So what are chemtrails up there for now? I have no idea.
You're listening to me, your lovable host, Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
Back in, was it late October, early November, somewhere on there, I did a guest spot. I did a fill-in host for another radio program. I think they're based in Colorado, a radio station in Colorado. And supposedly he was a big deal. And I remember my agent telling me that I should do it. The weird thing is I was, I got to tell you, I think I was set up. I really was. Because I was invited to be a guest co-host. Anyway, they interviewed me for like 30 minutes on the program. Now, the program is only an hour long. It's only an hour long, which is really kind of odd. But for 30 minutes, they had me on for 30 minutes for an interview. And right after the interview, next thing I know, my agent calls me and said, they want you to fill in for him, for the main host, because he's got to be somewhere and last minute fill in. Will you do it? And she was like, well, and I really think you should because they've got a huge audience. I'm like, okay, sure, why not? Now, everything went pretty well for the first 30 minutes. Then the second 30 minutes came on after the break, and then the conspiracy stuff hit. Now, my fault for not investigating this program more thoroughly. I was blindsided by this conspiracy stuff. And it was, and also I was surprised as hell that the listenership of this particular program was anti-Israel. Again, I was blindsided. Not only that, but the very next show that the main host was back on, and I have a copy of it, they proceed, because I didn't buy into some of their conspiracy theories and their anti-Israel rhetoric. I didn't buy into it. And so the very next show that the main host was back on, and I have a copy of the full episode, they proceeded to trash the hell out of me. Now, I'm not upset that they're trashing me. I mean, no big deal. It's not like I got my feelings hurt. But you don't invite somebody on for an interview and then invite them on to host your program while you're out, then blindside them, then trash them. What kind of nonsense is that? Well, that's how these wonderful conspiracy nut job theorists operate. It's amazing. How are you going to convince me by attacking me that you're right? Look, I convince, I'm not here to try to convince liberals. I'm just trying to get liberals to use their brain. But most of the time, I like just poking at them. So, yeah, I'll make fun of them and attack them. But, if you call my program and you spout some stupid stuff, well, that's one thing. But I'm not going to invite somebody onto my show without them knowing that, hey, you're the opposition. I mean, Hannity does it all the time. He is the opposition, but that's fine. If you know that you're the opposition, that's fine. But I'm not going to invite somebody onto my program or invite them to host my program when I'm not here and then blindside them and then proceed to trash the hell out of them. That's no class in my book. No class. And I keep saying that I'm going to actually, take some excerpts from the programs, those two programs that I'm involved in over there, and actually play some excerpts. Here, we'll do that coming up soon. But these conspiracy theorists and these leftists, these nut jobs, man, they're just. I know it's a rainy day. And it's Tuesday. That's why they're kind of getting on my nerves today. But it's unbelievable. Anyway, folks, glad you are here this morning. Call-in number is 603-835-3226. Got something here on Twitter. Twitter and Facebook. And this is, I don't know. Where the hell do people's smarts go when they think of doing this kind of stuff? Now, look, I'm not saying I'm one of those people that believes that, well, you cannot censor a lot of stuff on the web without being involved in censorship, obviously. And I know this is a fine line, but do you start shutting people down who you think are recruiting for things that you do not believe in? I mean, let's just not even say it's ISIS. I mean, it could be anything. I mean, it could be, the Irish Republican Army, whatever, the IRA. Remember that? Remember them? I know they supposedly disbanded, but did they really? I guess the best thing to do is just to get into it, but, we're out of time for this segment. But as soon as we get back from the break, we're going to get into this. You're not going to believe what this is all about, folks.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes two. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all, the few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
603-835-3226. Welcome back. Cool strutting down the street on this Tuesday morning. And not the there's a a department store, or discount department store named Tuesday Morning. I think we have them here in New England, do we not? I'm not a shopper, so I don't pay attention to all this stuff. Although, I'm thinking, this is actually kind of funny. Oh, what is it? The other night I was just flipping through YouTube, and by the way, this is Watchathon or Watchapalooza or something on Xfinity cable. So a lot of pay channels are free. Last night I watched Ant-Man. That was the Paul Rudd superhero movie. I had to watch it because I saw the Avengers and I needed to get some fill in about where this particular Ant-Man came from and what the whole. Marvel is turning this whole movie TV Marvel universe upside down. It's nothing of what I remember growing up reading comic books. I mean, most of the superheroes' alter egos or human alter egos or their secret identity, most of them, they've shed those identities or they've reverted back to some prehistoric form. I mean, now Spider-Man is a teenage high schooler again. There's a new Spider-Man movie coming out, and the jury's. I've seen a couple of trailers, and the jury's still. It's supposed to be out this summer, I think. Jury's still out on that. For me, I don't know if I'm going to see it. I'm just glad that they got rid of Andrew Garfield. He's not Spider-Man. Sorry, but I did. Now they got he's not a teenager actually. The guy who's playing him is actually he's like 21 or 22. Yeah, I know he looks like he's 12, literally, but he is an adult, and I think he can legally drink and smoke, but he's playing 16-year-old Peter Parker. But they've changed Aunt May. Now Aunt May isn't an old aunt. Actually, Aunt May was Peter Parker's great aunt. Not his mom's sister, but his mother's aunt. But now they made Aunt May young and hot. I'm not sure if I'm into that. But, yeah, and even to be... Aunt May is actually... This Peter Parker's Aunt May has actually caught the attention of Tony Stark. Yeah, Iron Man. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I know this is stupid to be talking about stuff like that, but I was just flipping through... So last night I watched Ant-Man, so that's... roughly an hour and 40 minutes or so of my life I really can't get back. I was extremely disappointed in Ant-Man. But I had to see it because I saw the Avengers. I actually liked the latest Avengers movie. It was, pretty decent for what it was. But I needed to find some background information on this universe's Ant-Man because it wasn't Pym. Wasn't Ant-Man. So it just... Yeah, well, I'm sure there's going to be more of them. Paul Rudd was thoroughly involved in this Ant-Man movie, so I'm sure there's probably going to be at least one more. They definitely made room for it. So, as well as other sequels. But over the weekend I was kind of flipping through YouTube because I can get YouTube on my TV. And I came across some stuff, some old YouTube videos about the super couponing. Anybody? Extreme couponing. Anybody ever use coupons? My mom used to use coupons. I've even tried using coupons, every now and then, but never to any significant level, especially the way these men and women on extreme couponing did. But then I came across this one video. It's in the extreme couponing genre. I have no idea why YouTube thought I'd want to see extreme couponing, but I did. I watched it. Watched a couple episodes. I was but then I started seeing some of the other stuff. The other side, some of the scam stuff that has been accused of some of these extreme couponing programs. Some of the fraud, some news items, some news stories about coupon fraud. I didn't know counterfeit couponing was a big thing. Evidently, it's pretty big. I had no idea. who's going to really worry? Who's going to really? Is it really worth trying to save 35 cents? But evidently, just like with counterfeiting real money, the money is in counterfeiting high value coupons. You know, the coupons that give you $1 off or $5 off this expensive product, or $10 off this expensive product. And the people actually sell coupons. Now, I know you're not supposed to be able to. They don't really sell the coupons, from what I understand. They actually sell the service of cutting and gathering and mailing the coupons to you. So they're charging for the service, but you're getting coupons. So basically, they're selling the coupons, and I didn't know that was big business. So couponing is big business, actually. And then pops up this video of this Amazon seller. The woman sells over $400,000 worth of product on Amazon every year, clears over $150,000 in her own pocket every year. And you know how she does it? She's an extreme couponer. She spends, it's her job. She'll spend 40 to 50 hours a week on the couponing aspect, I guess, something like that, 40 hours or whatever, on the couponing, on her business, the couponing aspect, and sending this stuff, going and getting this stuff. And a lot of the stuff she ends up getting, she says, for 90% off or more. Now, I don't know about you, but if you can get a $5 item and pay, I don't know, 50 cents for it, do you think you can make a profit off of it if you sell it? Well, that's her whole philosophy. And she was showing screenshots of her sales, over $400,000 in 2015. So yeah, this was a video, I guess, was shot in 2016 or something. But 2015, she's showing her entire year's sales on Amazon. Amazon screenshots. Now, I'm familiar with Amazon and how Amazon works and the selling part. She did the FBA stuff. Over $400,000. She profited over $150,000. I'm sure the government's very happy about that, about her income. But you know what? That's her job. She's making six figures by extreme couponing. Now, for all of you people out there who are, shall we say, sitting on government welfare and you say you can't find a job, here's another person. You know how she got started in extreme couponing? She got started because she had a decent level, mid-level, white-collar job, and she got laid off. She was a manager for a whole department, fairly large department in this company. The company pretty much just nearly shut its doors and laid off almost everybody. Well, this is her story, her backstory. She got laid off. And she had troubles finding another job that was going to pay her the same, so she needed to cut back on areas, and she was cutting out stuff, and a friend told her, well, you could save on your grocery bill. She thought, well, that'd be great if I could do that. And she started getting into it. And then she said she realized, you know what? I started seeing these programs about and learning online about extreme couponing and super couponing. And so I started really getting into it, and I found out that I could get stuff for at least 75% off and oftentimes 90% off or even 100% off the product. And even on some products, they might even owe me a few pennies so I can buy something else with that. I'm like, okay, she's on the right track. And she says, well, and then I realized I had a platform that I could sell this stuff because I was they call this stuff a stockpile that they gather up. They call it a stockpile. And she said, well, I was starting to get this stockpile, and I realized that some of these products I would never use up. And I could give them away, and I do give stuff away to local charity, she says. But she says, even better, I realized that some of this stuff I could sell. And that's how she got started. And 3 years later, evidently, I guess it's 2013 or 2012 is when she got laid off. But 3 years later, she's selling almost $500,000 worth of products on Amazon and clearing over $150,000. So for you people out there who say you can't do anything, you can't find a job, do what this woman does. This is the land of opportunity, for crying out loud. This woman is making bank. I'm impressed. Almost makes me want to do it. Tell you the truth. Almost. I'm not sure I'm going to be sitting there for 8 or 10 hours a day looking through flyers and scissors in hand cutting paper. Or online. You go online, but then you still got to cut them out. Anyway. So there's another. If you actually do that and you make a business out of it, remember, I take a 1% consulting fee. That's all I ask, just 1%. You can send your royalty checks to me. 1%, that's all I ask. There's an idea for you. Go out there and start becoming an extreme or super coupon. I don't know what's the difference. What's the difference between a super couponer and an extreme coupon? I don't know. It's just, is it marketing? Just name of shows, programs? I don't know. Either one. Coupon. They're not your grandma's coupons anymore. I suppose. And guys are big time into this now too. There are some, there are some Generation Z people that are into this. Youngsters, teenagers. Well, they don't have any money, so I guess if they want stuff, they got a coupon for it. Twitter and Facebook are targeted. This is from the Orlando Sentinel. Remember Orlando? Yeah, that should. You should know more about Orlando. You should remember Orlando, the Pulse nightclub. Well, Twitter and Facebook are being targeted by more Pulse shooting victims. Yes, 10 new plaintiffs have joined a federal lawsuit that targets Twitter, Google, and Facebook with allegations that ISIS used social media to radicalize the Pulse nightclub gunman. So now it's the fault of Twitter, Google, and Facebook. And some of you wonder why some of these social media outlets are starting to censor speech. Well, because of idiocy like this. Now, and some of you can probably argue, well, they seem to shut down more conservative view pages, Rod, than they do these Islamic type of pages. Again, I have no evidence to back up that they do or they don't. I don't see any studies that show and back up whatever, some people are saying that are anti-Twitter. I know that people have been shut down and there have been people who have been kicked off or put in Facebook jail for innocuous stuff. I get it. I've seen that. But as big as these social media outlets are, I don't know what the real story is behind all of that. I don't know if anybody's got the actual. Well, maybe this will come out in a trial. But this is ridiculous. You're going to blame Twitter, Google, and Facebook when they're supposed to be open platforms. Now, Twitter and Facebook are really opening. Not so much Google Plus, but Twitter and Facebook are opening themselves up to this kind of stuff because they have already indicated that they are willing to censor, and evidently, they're not censoring the right stuff. Well, when you start censoring, then people are going to expect you to censor stuff that they don't agree with. And if you don't, and if something goes wrong, then they're going to blame you. Now, Twitter and Facebook have opened themselves up to this nonsense by actually, and they've done it in such a ways because they're so left-leaning that they go ahead and they try to attack and censor people that they disagree with on the right. Now, that opens them up to this lawsuit, and they don't even realize it. So they think that the answer to counter this lawsuit is to do even more censoring. Well, they're not even doing it right because they're opening the door for more of these types of lawsuits. It's so they've only got themselves to blame. Now, yeah, I can chastise the people who are suing as this is idiocy, but is it? Is it? Now, this lawsuit is the second in recent weeks where more than a dozen Pulse victims or their surviving family members are now suing over the tragedy. The other big lawsuit is directed at the G4S security firm where the shooter worked as a security guard and his wife. So now they're going to blame the employer. I got some information. Speaking of employer, you know how this is going to. Employer here. Here's how employers are going to change that. Again, Pulse nightclub is responsible for the lawsuits. Might be responsible for this. Out of Sweden, employees getting implanted with microchips. Yes, the syringe. Here it is, right in my currently cigar nicotine stained fingers. The self-described body hacker Johan, Jowan, Johan Osterlund from Biohacks Sweden is implanting his employees who agree to be implanted with microchips. Well, I guess it's one way to keep track of people like the Pulse nightclub people, huh?
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
Call Rod now, 603-835-3226. Lines are open.
So one of the best ways to keep track of an employee, I suppose, know what they're doing, where they're going at all times, is to implant them with a super microchip like they're doing in Sweden. Now, right now it's on a volunteer basis. But the injections there they actually inject this chip, from a syringe, just like you see in the movies, into the employee's hand. Now, the injections have become so popular, so says San Francisco SF Gate, that workers at Epicenter Digital Innovation Center, a business in Sweden, that they hold parties for those willing to get implanted. So now it's becoming a big thing to get implanted with a microchip in Sweden. Now, they say that the benefit of this is convenience, says the co-founder, Patrick Masterton, CEO of Epicenter. As a demonstration, he unlocks a door by merely waving his hand near it. It replaces a lot of things, he said, from your keys to your credit cards. So you can go to the store, Starbucks, wave your hand, and your chip will be registered, and you pay for your grande latte or what have you. But there's no mention of what else these things can do. And so the first thing that I say is, oh, hell no. But then I think, maybe it'd be okay for security reasons. And then I get back to, oh, hell no. I ain't taking no chip being injected in me. Well, yeah, that's where this is going. If you're a criminal convicted of just about any crime, how much you want to bet within the next 5 to 10 years, what you're going to start seeing proposed from governments is, and this government included here in the USA, that they start implanting with microchips certain convicted criminals. And we as a society, we're going to say, yay, go ahead and do it. Because you know who they're going to start with? They're going to start with the worst of the worst, the baddest of the bad. And who is the baddest of the bad, worst of the worst in our society? You might say a murderer. Nope. Child sex offender. That's the worst of the worst of our society right now. The lowest of the low kind of criminal. In fact, those kind of criminals are so low that they often have to separate them out of the general population of a hardcore prison because they do not survive. So the lowest of the low, they're going to be the first ones. And we're going to justify it by saying, well, we need to know where these monsters are at all times to keep our kids safe. Remember that. I'm telling you, that's how it's going to be introduced. And then they're going to say, well, we need to expand it to include, other sex offenders like violent rapists and maybe even, just misogynists and people convicted of minor sex crimes. And then they're going to go off into other serious crimes like, well, you were a violent robbery or drug dealer or murderer. And then it's going to get down, and within 5 to 10 years, it's going to include anybody convicted of a felony, any kind of felony. And we're all going to be okay with it. Until they inject us with it and say, we know where you are at all times. Well, that's the only way you're going to prevent the Pulse nightclub shooter from doing what he did. That's the only way, folks. George Orwell's 1984.
America is America because it is so American. The children, they are the future of children, and she loves the children. Diversity is diverse when diversity is diversified. For a future you can see, for a future that brings with it all the hopes of tomorrow. By doing everything we did yesterday, we need a leader. We need a champion. We need her.
Vote for me. It's enough now. Give me it. It's mine. I want it. Just give me it. I want it now.
Stop asking questions and just give it to her already. Or you're a sexist racist.
Paid for by criminals and idiots for Hillary Clinton, because let's face it, you'd have to be one or the other to vote for this complete monster.
Thousands of families affected by disasters, like the recent wildfires, urgently need support. You can help the American Red Cross provide warm meals, shelter, and hope to families when they need it most. Please donate today to Red Cross Disaster Relief to help people affected by disasters, big and small. Go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. Your support is critical. We can't do it without you.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
Were you born from 1945 to 1965? People born during these years are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. So even if you try to eat right, exercise, and take care of yourself, you could still have hepatitis C, a serious disease that's a leading cause of liver cancer. If you were born from 1945 to 65, you should get a blood test for hepatitis C. Treatments can cure this disease. Talk to your doctor about getting tested. A message from the CDC.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and always stay in the kitchen when cooking at high temperatures. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Premature birth is the #1 killer of babies. Those who survive often face birth defects and complications that affect them for life. For hundreds of thousands of families in the United States, this is the hardest thing they will ever have to face. And it's even harder on the baby. March of Dimes is providing education and support to families and funding life-saving research to give every baby a fighting chance. You can help. Do something today. Give them tomorrow at marchofdimes.org/tomorrow.
It's pretty amazing when you consider that 7 years ago, we didn't have the treatments we have now. We cure 80% of children with cancer. Go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. We understand what makes this cancer tick. And of course, without donors from around the world, this just couldn't happen. There's one thing we're focused on, and that's beating this thing.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Not on my watch, our military service members say, as they volunteer to serve. As they move out, stand firm, and take fire. So not on our watch, we say, to the severely ill or injured veterans who can't get the care they deserve to live full and independent lives, even when there's no government funding or a nursing home seems like the only option. We won't leave one warrior behind. Not on our watch. Join us at findwwp.org.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
America's wounded warriors are coming home. After serving on foreign shores, these brave men and women are returning to their families and communities. Many have wounds you can see, and many have wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Now that these warriors are back home, they are ready to enter the civilian workforce. To help, Wounded Warrior Project has developed the Warriors to Work program, a career counseling service that helps warriors translate their military experience to the civilian workplace. These extraordinary men and women bring proven world-class job skills and a unique perspective on teamwork to the job. And to ensure the right warrior finds the right job, Wounded Warrior Project works with employers to find just the right match. When you hire a wounded warrior, you hire an intelligent, talented, and committed new employee. Contact Wounded Warrior Project at findwwp.org. Welcome home the brave.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
The White House under Obama is reeling. At least some of the people is, and everybody's wondering where the hell is Barack Obama? Is he off to some island paradise with a bunch of, other men of like desires? And what neighbors are finding in the skies over their yards, plus a whole hell of a lot more, so stay tuned.
And now, live from the bunkerized studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, is Rod Eccles.
Gracias, oh wonderful announcer, and welcome back. Folks, this whole thing with for you conversationalists and ecclesiastites and liberty lovers all across the globe that are tuning in, 603-835-3226 is the call-in number should you wish to participate here on this Tuesday morning, April number 4 in the year of our Lord 2017. We're in April now, rainy day. This whole notion with the implants, and this is going to start taking effect, folks. It is going to start taking. Right now, people don't even have second thoughts. Although it's rather expensive, but they don't have second thoughts about getting their pets tagged, as they call it, implanted with a microchip. And everybody thinks it's a wonderful idea. I mean, they're kind of pricey, which is limiting how many pets are being tagged right now. But nobody thinks twice about that. Yeah, you say, well, I'm going to go get my pet biochipped or biotagged or something like that. In case they get lost, we can find it. Everybody thinks it's a great idea. Now, how do you find a lost pet? You find a lost pet because you can track it. You track it with satellites. Geo-tracking, basically. So, what do you think those people in Sweden are is going to happen to them when they're implanted with these microchips? You don't think that people can we can track, they can't be tracked. That's the whole point of this stuff, folks. It's this benign usefulness. You can. How much more easy do we have to make life in order? You don't need a key anymore to start your car. Well, do you really need that key implanted in your hand, or can you just leave it in your pocket? Is that good enough? They try to make it sound so cool. Oh, yeah, you just wave your hand like you're a king or queen or some sort of potentate or royalty. Just wave your hand and everything's paid for or taken care of. Or you wave your hand in front of something and everything opens, open sesame. How much more convenient do we really need to make things? We don't. But people are falling for this garbage. Oh, it's so cool. It's so convenient. It's so... And we're accepting it, open arms. Whoever thought we would have ever gotten to that point, that we would accept privacy intrusion with open arms? Who would ever thought that we'd start demanding it? I'm guaranteeing you we're going to start demanding that certain people in society, at first, get microchipped. And once we do that, everybody eventually will fall into place and in line and be up for microchipping. And who knows, maybe before this century is out, people will start being microchipped at the moment of birth. This is not a joke anymore, folks. This is not science fiction. This is science fact. And all because, and this is going to, and we're going to look back in history and say, you know what? It stemmed back to the point where some lawyer convinced enough people of the Pulse nightclub that Twitter and Facebook and Google Plus were at fault for their relatives or them being murdered or shot at a gay nightclub. Now, don't blame ISIS. Don't blame the government for lack of security, or the Obama administration, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. No. Don't even blame the nightclub for lack of security. No. Yeah, go ahead and blame the employer of this nut job and blame social media for allowing him to utilize his First Amendment rights. So First Amendment rights can be cracked down on everybody. And what's the reason and the excuse? Oh, national security. You can't be a part of any group that you want to be a part of, and you can't say anything you want to say now because national security is not the same as freedom of speech. They're going to find a way around the First Amendment. They're just as we now say you cannot yell fire when there's no fire in a crowded movie theater. You can't do that. That's not free speech. Well, and you've got a lot of people out there saying that burning the flag, and there are a lot of people who listen to this program that disagree with me on this. You get a lot of people out there that say that burning the flag is not free speech. Okay, so if you are going to limit what speech really is, then somebody else is also going to do the same thing, and you're not going to like it. And we're starting to see it now. I've warned people about this. And the worst part is that when you start explaining and showing them the evidence that free speech is being clamped down on, they still double down on their own anti-free speech area. They start doubling down on it. Like, do you realize what you're doing? You are guaranteeing the end of the First Amendment. You're guaranteeing it right now. And you don't even realize it. And we're starting to see it. And you're saying, no, I can still say what I want. Really? No, you can't, because you'll end up in court and some judge and jury will find and rule against you. And then, I brought you a number of stories over the past few months about people, government officials introducing California, basically wanting to ban free speech in certain areas. They've got a direct assault on the First Amendment now. Fake news, they're going to be able to determine what fake news is. They're going to try to ban fake news. Who is going to determine what fake news is? Folks, I've been warning you about this kind of stuff for years now, and it is now starting to come to fruition. We've got the conflux of the book 1984 coming in. We've got people who are willing to get microchipped. We've got people who are willing to stand up for censorship, and if you don't stand up for censorship, they're going to sue the hell out of you. And you got even people who are now introducing laws and legislation that are a direct affront to the Constitution. And you have people standing up and cheering for it. And even demanding it. Look, we are our own worst enemies. Now, I gotta say, you got people who believe in maybe those chemtrail nut jobs, maybe they got a point. Maybe the chemtrails aren't about controlling us as so much as making us all crazy nut jobbery type of idiots that government has to come in and protect us from ourselves. Maybe that's the whole goal of it all. Because only a nut job would stand for having their, cheering to have their rights taken away from them. I don't get that part. I don't fully understand it, folks. I'm sorry. I never will. You know what? I'm the type of, I've been told by some conspiracy nut jobs, Rod, when you're out in public, man, in the open, you got to express what they want you to express. You can't do what you're doing. You can't be honest like that. I'm like, why not? Because they'll come after you. They'll come after you when the time is right for them. They're not gonna try to capture you. They're not gonna try to jail. They're just gonna come after you to eliminate you, man, because you're too dangerous. Like, I don't have a huge audience. It doesn't matter. Small voice grows into loud voices pretty quick, man. Man, you got to tone it down. Look, there are some people out there that are scared for my safety. I appreciate that, really, but if I did that, would I not be encouraging all this anti-Constitution, anti-American, anti-children of God sentiment? Really, I can't. And if I'm going to live my faith, then I got to believe that when I go, that I'm going someplace else. It's not going to be a. And if at the end of my lifetime, I find out that God is a myth and heaven is a myth and none of that's true, which I don't believe that. Of course, it actually exists. But just in case, anything's possible. It doesn't exist, and it's all it is nothingness. Then how am I going to know I'm in nothing? I'm not going to be here. I'm not going to see, feel, know anything. It's just going to be nothing. So what is it like to experience nothing? Just nothing? I mean, I can't comprehend that. So anyway, White House logs indicate that Susan Rice consumed unmasked intel on Trump associates. I love how they write that. This is from circa.com. White House logs indicate Susan Rice consumed unmasked intel on Trump associates. Yeah, it's my very bad German accent there. So in German, why German, right? Well, Nazis were German. Okay, we have this Nazi thing. If you're a conservative, you're a Nazi. You're a fascist. Well, I mean, what these people did in the Obama administration is far more Nazi-like or fascist-like than whatever Trump is doing, and Trump supporters believe in. So the White House logs indicate that Susan Rice consumed, I love how they put that, consumed, unmasked intel on Trump associates. Susan Rice, like Valerie Jarrett, is not, Valerie Jarrett's just an evil woman. Susan Rice is not a nice lady. She's just not nice. She's a liberal hack nut job. Valerie Jarrett, I believe, is just an evil. There's something about Valerie Jarrett, man. That woman gives me the heebie-jeebies. Is that still a word? People still use that? You ever see Valerie Jarrett? Now, I know you're not supposed to attack the way a person looks, because in most cases that's how they're born and that's what their DNA or whatever makes them up to be. They can't help it. There's plastic surgery nowadays, but it's beyond. There's something. It's not just her facial look, I guess. It's not just her DNA. There's something behind those eyes, behind that face, that sort of shines through that face, that scares the hell out of me whenever I look at Valerie. It is like you're looking at a demon. I'm serious, a child of the devil. Or a minion of the devil. I don't, either way you want to put it. That's what I get whenever I see Valerie Jarrett. All I see is evil. And we hear all this weird stuff about her, about how she used to hang around Barack Obama. Not Michelle, but Barack. She used to always be in the shadows. And now supposedly she's moved into, at least part-time, into the Obama's D.C. home, but they're not even there. I mean, Obama's off on some island in the Caribbean or Tahiti or something like that with a bunch of other guys, and you got all this speculation that now he's with his husband, while Michelle is supposedly out there with Michelle is, where was the last, in California? Yeah, the rumor is that Michelle is traipsing around with other, because there are people that said that Michelle Obama is actually Michael Obama, that she's a he and he's a transgender. And that she is, traipsing around with other transgenders, and that the girls are back with their real parents. I mean, it's all this, but then all this stuff happens, and this whole family just sort of splits up, and all goes their separate ways, and you start to realize that there's one person that's always there and always constant, and that's Valerie Jarrett. And where is she? Back in Washington D.C. at their house, and you're starting to think, wait, this is all weird. This is one odd family. Now, I'm not saying that Barack is gay and that Michelle is actually Michael and the girls were adopted or borrowed. I'm not saying any of that. I don't buy into that stuff. Well, maybe Barack is bi. Who knows? Back in his college days, he probably did pal around with guys and did things. It's what. A lot of people experimented when they were in college. They were encouraged to experiment back then, and even today, still the same thing. But the girls, Sasha and Malia, I believe they came out of the womb of Michelle, and that they belong to Barack. Hell, they look too much like them, really, to tell you the truth. But I know that's not a guarantee, but of parent lineage, but they do. They look like the two of them. But it's just weird to have Valerie Jarrett basically in the shadows all the time. And now, who's the other surrogate? Susan Rice, and she's popping up everywhere. What gives?
You're listening to the Rod Eccles Show, the coolest, most politically incorrect, conservative black man on the planet.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
A couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
I had somebody actually try to show me a picture of their evidence about Michelle being Michael. And they had it on their iPad. And they shoved this picture, they brought this picture up on their iPad, and they shoved this picture in my face and said, "Look, Michelle has a hot dog." And I said, are you serious? This is not a hot dog. Michelle's got a camel toe. And that's what it was, folks. I mean, I don't mean to sound vulgar or anything, but it was a very bad picture of her. Frankly, the first lady needed to have been, well, the former first lady needed to have been a little bit more cognizant of her clothing, of her dress. But yeah, I guess you see what you want to see. But the reality is, it wasn't a hot dog. Which is why I say that she's a she, not a he, and that the kids actually belong to them. I'm not buying into that conspiracy theorist nonsense that they're the world's first transgendered gay couple as, to be in the White House as president and first lady. That's no. I don't I don't think I'm gonna. Sorry, I haven't seen the evidence to back that up. But that's neither here nor there. The whole point is why is Valerie Jarrett everywhere, and why all of a sudden now is Susan Rice at the center of all this controversy? Why is Susan Rice at the center of all this? Is everybody's looking around saying, well, see, look, Obama had to know this, and Obama did this, and this whole Russian gate thing is all about Obama because Obama didn't want Trump to take over and blah, and we get all this information, and these people supposedly they have this slip of the tongue and admit all of this stuff. I'm like, what? Hey, these people are not that stupid. You mean to tell me that they have been so closed-mouthed for 8 or 9 years that all of a sudden now they make all these slips? Folks, I'm telling you, don't be misled by this. Keep your eyes open because we're about to be blindsided with something. I'm telling you, none of this is making any sense to me. You get somebody going on national TV. Even though, maybe MSN, maybe it's, NBC, MSN, Mess, or whatever, some, network that doesn't get a lot of views, but they're still going on national TV. They're admitting to something. And then when they get asked about it later, well, this really could have been an illegal. I didn't say that. Then they're going to. How do you deny what you say when you just said it on national TV? Look, call me a skeptic, but I say there's something else happening here. We're being set up to be blindsided. And I'm telling you, don't put the blinders on and don't stare straight ahead. Turn your head and look to the side because somebody's about to cold cock you. I'm waiting for it, folks. I'm telling you. Again, call me a conspiracy theorist if you want, but the evidence, the historical evidence proves that these people have always done things to distract you and then hit you from the blind side with something totally radical or totally different or totally unexpected. And you go, whoa, what? I didn't see that coming. I'm telling you something like that. We're being set up for something like that right now. Because, and the reason is because why all of a sudden has this whole thing about Valerie Jarrett moving into the Obama homestead in Washington, D.C., why has that story disappeared? It's hard to find that story now. And why all of a sudden is everything all about Susan Rice? Something's afoot. Call Rod now, 666-603-835-3226.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
I'm not Rod Eccles, and I approve this message.
I always say that if you're ever cold, just listen to some Latin or Spanish flavored music. All it just rings or rings out with heat, if you know what I'm saying. Latin dance and Spanish dance. I mean, it's just, yeah. You know, you had excuse me. You had in days of old. You had the dancing of Britain, you know, the British dance and the French dance. That was all foo-foo, frou-frou, fake, fra-fra, whatever, superfluous stuff. The people who could dance, they weren't the Northern Europeans. They were the Europeans that had some permanent skin color, like the Spaniards, especially the Spaniards and the Portuguese, the Italians, the Greeks. They danced, man. And they had the music that moved you to dance. You know, the more erudite, although they gave us great classical music, you know, the Germans and the Nordics. You know, you had, you know, Bach and Beethoven and Wagner and great classic music, but they gave us, along with that classic music, some very boring, dull, non-imaginative dancing. The dancing that was imaginative, that probably you could say is a precursor to a lot of today's modern dance that you see people doing, comes from the more what you might call the Latin arena of Europe, which is Spain and Italy and Greece and in Africa. I mean, that had a lot. Those kind of dances had a lot more movement and soul in them. I'm just, you know, just my personal opinion on that kind of thing. You can disagree with me if you want, and again, it's just an opinion here. I mean, that there might be people who find the old French, Dutch, English style dancing that you see, you know, in a lot of movies about with royals in it. You know, they might find that kind of dancing very moving. I don't know how, but you'd find that very moving and soulful. It's devoid of soul. You want to tell me that the tango doesn't have feeling and soul to it, or any of that, the tango-esque type of dances doesn't have any soul or feeling in them at all? Really? You want to tell me that the you know, and then, well, you know, the that type of dancing, the erudite dancing, as I call it, you know, from France and England and the Dutch and German, you know, this is all those types of dances originated in the royal courts, and people, you know, the regular people followed them. But that also led to, you know, square dancing, American square. That has its basis in that kind of dance, which is probably why I don't like square. I had to do square dancing when I was in elementary school. Anybody had to do that in gym class? I hated square. Now, for those of you who like square dancing, that's fine for you. I'm glad you like it. I didn't particularly like it. I hated it. We had to do it every year for half a semester. It was part of the curriculum, square dancing. Yeah, I know how to do-si-do and Allemande left and Allemande right and bow to your partner and bow to your neighbor and all that. I hated gym class when we had to do that. Oh, my God, that still gives me nightmares having to do square dancing. And they call that having a well-rounded education. Why was square dancing part of a well-rounded education? You know, why not bluegrass or something, or ballroom dancing? I would have done ballroom dancing. Why not ballroom? Why did they choose square dancing to be part of a well-rounded education? Man, all three, like Element, it didn't matter what base we were stationed on at either. All the school districts had the same damn policy. From like the time I was in 5th grade all the way through high school, I had to do square dancing. I couldn't stand it. Oh. Sorry, folks. I just got off on a little memory tangent there. For those, well, there are people out there who like square dancing. Well, it's the dance. There are dances that we don't like. There are dances that we do like. Understand that politics is nothing but a dance as well. You know, outmaneuvering your political opponent is nothing more than a dance. And some people love that type of dance. I don't particularly love that type of dance. Some people do, which is why they're in Washington, D.C. or in our various state capitals across the nation. They love the political dance. I don't like office politics. I don't like politics in particular. I really don't. I think it's foolish and a waste of time, and people just need to be more honest, because that's exactly how I'm going to be with them. Which is why a lot of people, maybe that's just it, because people expect me to be more politically correct, even though I'm, the most politically incorrect black man on the planet. They still expect some political correctness. And then when they meet me in person, they find there's absolutely none. They're flabbergasted. So maybe that's the political game that I have. Maybe that gives me an advantage. I don't play their games. And maybe that's what throws them off. Well, maybe I'm better at chess than I thought. Anyway, computer logs that former President Obama's team left behind in the White House indicate his national security advisor, Susan Rice, accessed numerous intelligence reports during Obama's last 7 months in office. And these reports contain National Security Agency intercepts involving Donald Trump and his associates. In 7 months? Why? What could you possibly be looking for? Well, we want to see if Donald Trump had any Russian connections. You really expect us to believe that nonsense? You really think that's the case? Now, intelligence sources said the logs discovered by National Security Council staff suggest Rice's interest in the NSA materials, some of which included unmasked Americans' identities, which appeared to begin last July around the time that Trump secured the GOP nomination, and definitely accelerated after Trump's election in November, launched a transition that continued through January. So you've got a sitting administration that is backing a particular candidate. And while openly backing a particular candidate to succeed the sitting administration, you're looking into, with no evidence that there is any collusion or criminality whatsoever, you're looking into an illegally unmasking American citizens in these investigations of a potential rival administration, rival to the one that you support. And then after that rival is actually elected, you continue this investigation and snooping, you intensify it. This is worse than Watergate. I mean, the real Watergate in the early 70s, involving then President Richard M. Nixon. Now, there are some people that speculate the reason why Barack Obama doesn't come back to Washington and stay, even though he has a house there, is simply because too much of this stuff is being brought to light, and he can only operate in the darkness and in the shadows. And too much of this stuff is being brought to the light, and he's going to get questioned. And let's face it, this guy, if he doesn't have a teleprompter or a memorized script, he can't speak. You know, all you people out there that on the left that say that he's such a wonderful, gifted speaker, really? No, he's not. He's not a gifted speaker. He's a good speech reader, but he's not a gifted speaker. I mean, the guy's a stuttering fool. And that's not there are people out there that have a real, literal stuttering problem. I'm not making fun of him at all. This guy is just a stuttering fool. I mean, he cannot look. When I'm not going to brag on myself here, but I'm going to brag on myself a little bit, I guess. When I'm out there giving a keynote address, I don't give a speech. So you could say I'm a gifted orator, but I have all the points of my speech memorized. I have the points memorized. I don't write an entire, 15, 20-page speech and then memorize. There are people that do. They write a full speech. It could be 15 pages long, and they memorize word for word everything. And it comes out that way. I do not do that. I memorize the main points of each speech and when those points are going to come up. And then I fill in. Now, that's a person, if I do say so myself, that is a gifted speaker or orator. That's not Barack Hussein Obama. Barack Hussein Obama has got to have a teleprompter or a piece of paper in front of him with a speech written on it that he can follow, because if he doesn't, he cannot speak. He's a stuttering fool. So this is exactly why he cannot be questioned in an open forum about all of this stuff. Because who do you think should be questioned most of all? Do you think Valerie Jarrett should be the one that's questioned about all of this? Do you think Susan Rice is the one, even though her name is on some of this stuff? Do you think she's the one that needs to be questioned about it? No, it's Barack Obama. The people who need to be questioned and brought forth to be questioned and give answer to all of this nonsense are the people that they're not questioning. Right? Is it me? Or do you also find it very interesting that the main people in charge of, say, the Justice Department, the Department of Defense, and the White House, they're not being sought after and questioned? In fact, we can't even find half of them. We don't even know where they... Does anybody know where Barack Obama is? I don't know if anybody... Has anybody seen Valerie Jarrett lately? Why have these people disappeared? Yeah, we had Joe Biden up here in New Hampshire not too long, a few days ago. Ooh, big deal. He regrets not running for... No, he doesn't. He regrets being twisted and arm twisted and told that he couldn't run. That's what that whole... Folks, you remember that White House thing on the Rose Garden where he was saying that he wasn't running? The longest I'm not running speech I've ever heard. With the president standing right next to him just to make sure that he didn't put open mouth and insert foot. Because his whole thing was a setup for Hillary Clinton, and Joe Biden would have screwed that up. So they basically told Biden, look, Joe, we love you, man, but you're not running. Dude, you better get on board, dude. There's some dangerous shit going on. I use that word again, the S word. There is some dangerous stuff going on behind the scenes throughout this this past electoral process. I mean, this is, you want to talk about conspiracy theories? You think the Russians had something to do with hacking our elections? Well, folks, there is so much scumbaggery going on behind the scenes in this past election. It would make your head spin. And I'm a type of person that can see the surface of this stuff and try to dig, but what is there is absolutely, it is so filthy and disgusting. You would probably say this only happens in a soap opera novel. This doesn't happen in real life. This is a TV show. This is not real life, but this is real life, folks. I am telling you that the corruption is so rampant and so deep this is all of this stuff. If it were to be properly investigated like they did Watergate back in the early 70s, this would make Watergate look like a kiddie telethon. That's it. And this is just on the surface, folks. What we've got going on right now is so insidious. Yes, it literally could lead to a lot of politicos, big honcho politicos, going to jail. Yes, including Barack Hussein Obama. Don't leave him out of any of this.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
To ask yourself what really is going on behind the scenes. I mean, what is really happening? What is going on? I mean, do we really have a conspiracy that is a conspiracy to end all conspiracies? Frankly, while they're throwing us a bone, saying it's the Russians hacked the election. Well, I guess the Russians have... Well, now the Russians are being accused of trying to influence and hack the German election, too. I didn't know the Russians could be in all these wonderful places at the same time. I didn't know that they had that, resources to be able to do all of that. Now the Russians are being accused of having possibly trying to interfere in Ecuador and France. And the Russians had something to do with Brexit. Wow. The Russians are great cyber spies. They're greater than the Chinese, man. They don't have nearly as many people as Chinese in their cyber warfare department as the Chinese have. But those Russians, they must be super, super smart to be able to infiltrate and hack just about every election system on the entire planet. I mean, they're wonderful. I mean, come on, we better pony up to the table and be really, really nice to Putin and his people because they're super, super smart. I mean, come on. Anybody in their right mind going to believe all that nonsense? Especially with the evidence that we have on the table that keeps being, we get file after file, dossier after dossier gets tossed on the table, and the more of these things that get tossed on the table and come to light, the more we find out that it's somebody in the Obama administration that is behind all this stuff. And you want to tell me that Obama didn't know what the hell was going on in his own administration that much? Who was in charge? Remember when everybody used to, all the left say, well, Dick Cheney was really the president. He was pulling the strings. Well, who the hell was pulling the strings in the White House under Obama? It obviously wasn't Biden. So who the hell? Oh, Valerie Jarrett? If Obama didn't know what the hell was going on, then who was pulling the strings? If Dick Cheney was pulling the strings of G.W. Bush, then who was pulling the strings of Obama? The only person who seems to have been around all the time, standing in the shadows, just beyond the view of all of us in the light, was Valerie Jarrett. And how many times have we heard people talk about Valerie Jarrett as being very intelligent? And now she's moved into the Obama D.C. mansion? But the face of the administration now is going to be Susan Rice? Is she the fall girl? No, fall guy, fall girl. Maybe I should say gal. Fall gal? I mean, are we really going to fall for all this stuff, folks? Or are we going to say that there's more to all of this than meets the eye? And are we going to assume that Barack Obama had no knowledge of any of this? Are you really going to believe that? I may not be the smartest person in the world, and I might not be the most observant person on the planet, and I might miss a lot, but come on, when I can pick up on this stuff. You guys gotta see this. There is a lot more here than meets the eye, man. There is some insidious, deep corruption, poisonous, rotten stuff going on. And there are people behind this that I believe that know exactly what's going on with everything and are behind everything. And you cannot tell me that Barack Obama is conveniently out of town when all of this stuff goes down. Now, I'm not being a conspiracy theorist. I'm just looking at the surface, folks. I'm standing on the outside looking in, looking down into the pit. Up on the surface, looking down in the pit. And I'm shining the flashlight down there, and I'm seeing all the vipers. And starting to name the vipers. And the vipers, the vipers that are closest to the surface, those aren't the vipers you got to worry about. The vipers you got to worry about are the vipers that are underneath the surface vipers, because they're the most deadly.
The following program is recommended for mature individuals and may contain material unsuitable for morons, cretins, and dishwipes. If you are a moron or a member of the PTL Club, please turn off your radio, because we don't need any more stupid, narrow-minded, pencil-neck geeks who wouldn't know the First Amendment if it came up and bit them on the butt. Thank you.
Have you ever thought to yourself, I'm a leftist elite Hollywood a-hole? If so, good news. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College is now open, featuring such courses as unemployment is not paid vacation. No, Americans don't want to spend $19 for an order of French fries, and the ever popular shut the hell up. Why, just listen to this big-time celebrity endorsement.
I'm not Rosie O'Donnell, and I think this school's offensive, sexist, and racist.
and I think you're a giant a-hole who needs to shut the hell up. Hey, we teach a course in that. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College, where being an a-hole is not a guarantee you'll be an A student.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill, a breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help, just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
The human voice. It can be sweet as music, powerful as thunder,
And so, my fellow Americans,
cheerful as laughter. But for millions of people, it can also be a sign of COPD. This serious lung disease can make it so hard to breathe, you often can't catch a breath or finish a sentence, let alone carry a tune. And many who have COPD don't even know it. That's where your voice comes in. If you think you or a loved one have symptoms, talk with a healthcare provider. Early diagnosis can mean better treatments and quality of life. Join us in raising our voices for the millions with COPD who can't. Learn more, breathe better at NIH.gov.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
It's a huge burden lifted financially, and so it allows you to give singular focus to your child. I've never known a hospital that takes care of their patients so thoroughly.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When they told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow. They pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Not just Susan Rice, but there have been others who've been able to look at all this information that we're finding out that is happening in D.C. right now, as well as you're not going to believe what's happening in New York City with the New York Police Department, and straight ahead, what families in New York or other neighborhoods around the country are finding in their backyards, and what a family is saying about a few teen burglars.
And now, live from the bunkerized studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, is Rod Eccles.
Welcome back, my fellow liberty lovers and ecclesiastites. Yes, it is I, your lovable host, and 603-835-3226 is the call-in number, should you wish to utilize it. And, you know, here it is, Tuesday, hour number 3 already, folks, by the way. Hour 3. I'm always amazed that we get to hour 3 so damn quickly. Fastest 3 hours in Internet Talk Radio. Here we are, April 4th, in the year of our Lord, 2017. Third hour of the program as we kick it off. You know, there's much more to say about this Trump-gate, Russian-gate, whatever you want to call it, in D.C. right now. But we'll get into that, more of that, in a moment, in due course, before the program ends. Right now, from the Daily News out of New York, New York Police Department is doing something that Mayor de Blusterous, otherwise known as Mayor de Blasio, isn't very happy about. In the inner circles say he's not happy about this, but New York Police Department, the police chief there, is saying, you know what? We're about law and order. So if we're going to say we're about law and order, if we're going to have people actually, respect the police, then we got to start following and enforcing the law. So New York Police Department is now alerting the feds to criminal court appearances of immigrants facing deportation in spite of the so-called sanctuary city vow. New York Police Department. Can we give a clap for this? I mean, this is gotta love this part. The New York City Police Department, the NYPD. Probably the NYPD is probably the most portrayed police department in the world on TV, and in movies. You won't. I don't. Well, maybe you'll find more. No, not even in China. I don't even think the Beijing Police Department is portrayed as often as the NYPD is portrayed. I'm being serious here. if you go to China, I don't know if are they all pretty. Our police departments are pretty independent. Is the Beijing police department really independent, or could you say that all the police departments, no matter what police department they are, they're all part of the same department in China? I guess if you make that kind of argument, you might be right. In which case, then the Chinese civilian police are the most portrayed. But just for a municipality, the NYPD is by far the most portrayed municipality police department on the planet. Nobody else has more movies and programs and specials and miniseries and TV shows and long-running TV shows as well. The Brits don't get into overly long-running programs for whatever reason. It's not unusual to have a British TV series that's only meant to run one season or two seasons. That's it. And it's not unusual on Brit TV for main characters to be killed off. I mean, I fully realize that Game of Thrones is not a real Brit series. I mean, it's made with British actors, but the author is American of this whole thing. But it takes a nod from British. I mean, there were British TV shows that I was watching on Netflix, a few years ago, and I was shocked. This is before Game of Thrones came on. And these programs, I've had Netflix since, 2003, 2002, somewhere around there. From DVDs, and as soon as they started streaming, I was into the streaming thing. And 2008, 2009, I'm watching some of these British programs for the first time because of streaming and stuff, and certain DVDs, and I'm being shocked because you get these characters, and wait, that's a main. He can't die because he's a main character. It says starring, and he's the first name, the first actor that's listed starring, and you think, oh well, he's going to come back, because that's what American TV does. They bring him back if they kill him, or they didn't really kill him. Anybody watching Badlands? They did this with Badlands already. Into the Badlands. Main character, they killed him. At least I thought. They brought him back somehow. I still don't know how they brought him back, but he's back. But that doesn't happen British TV. They go away. They die and they go away. It's fascinating. But you still have this one department is the most portrayed in the entire planet. NYPD. I don't know why. There's something about New York City that draws people to want to make film or programs or TV shows about the police department there. And the police department there is saying, you know what, we gotta. Maybe they're looking at all their portrayals, and because NYPD is all about standing up and protecting the innocent and protecting the people of the city and standing up for the law. And now you've got them actually doing it in real life. So the NYPD now alerts federal immigration agents to the criminal court appearances of inmates facing deportation. So the Daily News learned, as a sanctuary city, the city currently only complies with immigration and customs enforcement detainer orders to hold a defendant until federal agents can take custody in cases involving violent or serious felonies. But in the process of verifying warrants against a defendant, officials said that the NYPD will contact relevant law enforcement, including ICE, thereby alerting the agency to an immigrant's upcoming appearance in a city courtroom. Now, advocates slam the practice, saying it amounts to collusion with immigration officials that go against the spirit of Mayor de Blasio's pledge. So right there you have the admission that the left wants to take and release dangerous, illegal immigrant criminals on the streets of our cities. Advocates are slamming the practice of notifying ICE of a dangerous illegal immigrant who is a criminal, who has broken other laws than other. Now, if you just want to say that okay, they didn't break any laws by entering the country illegally, fine, let's erase that law. They broke other laws that put them in front of a judge and a jury And you're going to tell me this is in collusion with immigration officials by alerting them that you've got a criminal illegal immigrant. And that by notifying the federal department that is in charge of this type of thing, so this person can be deported, that is being in collusion and in cahoots and is somehow amoral and wrong? You want to release this dangerous criminal back into the streets of the American public where citizen and non-citizen alike, who are all legally here, can be put at risk and put at danger, possibly raped, robbed, thugged, murdered, what have you. They've just admitted it. Right here, the Daily Post printed what they said. Advocates of illegal immigrants are slamming New York City Police Department for notifying ICE of dangerous criminal immigrants. I really shouldn't have to say another word. That's what this is all about, folks. They want these dangerous criminals released upon our streets. And this is exactly why this next story happens. And it probably happens more often than you realize. Now, this is from W&D, WorldNet Daily. Not too long ago, a few days ago, you probably heard the story about 3 teenagers breaking into a home, trying to burgle the home, burglarize it. Well, here's the rest of the story. Family of dead burglar. When I saw this headline, I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. The family of a dead burglar. They said the homeowner's gun meant an unfair fight. What? When 3 teenagers, Jacob Redfern, 17, Maxwell Cook, 19, and Jacob Woodruff, 16, forced their way into a stranger's home, they never imagined they would be greeted by a homeowner's son armed with an AR-15. So you got to... Now, first of all, these 3 they're teenagers. The son is also a teenager of the homeowner. He's a teenager. They were probably... I mean, the story doesn't really say this, but maybe they were after him. So Maxwell Cook, Jacob Redfern, and Jacob Woodruff. Now, Jacob Redfern is J-A-C-O-B, and Jacob Woodruff is J-A-Y-K-O-B. And they were shot and killed as they attempted to burglarize a home in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, back on March 27th. Police found a knife and brass knuckles on the assailants after the violent confrontations. Now, authorities arrested a suspect getaway driver, 21-year-old Elizabeth Rodriguez. But now Redfern's grandfather, the grandfather of the 17-year-old, says it was never a fair fight and the teen shouldn't have been killed. Well, I mean, if you shoot somebody, that's a risk. If you're going to be shot, that's a risk you're going to take, being killed by being shot. Now, Leroy Shoemaker told Oklahoma's KTUL TV 8 that what these boys did was stupid, but they shouldn't have been shot. They didn't deserve to die. No, they entered somebody else's house without permission. They entered it aggressively, 3 of them against 1. They were armed at least with a minimum of knives and brass knuckles. And you want to tell me that this 3 against 1 with knives and brass knuckles versus 1 person. You want to tell me that that's a fair fight? Now, Shoemaker claims that Redfern was a good teenager who never got into trouble, according to the station. Brass knuckles against an AR-15. Come on. Well, didn't the President Obama once say that? Hey. They bring a knife, we bring a gun. Well, guess what? That's exactly what happened. Did not the former president of the United States, did he not say that? He did say. In fact, I wish I had people here that could help me find all these clips because I'd play it. He did say that. He said that exact same thing. They bring a knife, we bring a gun. So these three kids brought knives and brass knuckles to break into a home, and hey, the homeowner just happened to have a son who knew how to use a gun. And we're going to say it's unfair, an unfair fight? Well, you know what they should, these three teenagers would still be alive if they hadn't decided to become criminals.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
Bring the rain.
Not only would those teenagers be a lot. Well, first of all, those teenagers. I love when everybody says, "Well, he was a good boy. He was really a good boy and didn't deserve." No, this is not usually a flash in the pan type of thought. This is not something that usually happens when a really good kid just says, "You know what? How about for shits and giggles today we just go and and commit an armed robbery somewhere in somebody's house. We just break and enter, we invade somebody's house and try to rob them. How about good kids don't." This is a pattern. If you have somebody breaking into somebody's house with knives and brass knuckles, these are not good boys. I'm sorry, they're not. This is an ongoing pattern that is continuing to escalate. And I guarantee if they got away with this, or if they got arrested and were thrown in jail and they get out of jail, they would become more hardcore criminals than they currently were. They were headed in that direction. They were not good boys. I'm sorry, they weren't. I'm sorry. Good boys don't do that. And good girls don't drive the getaway car. And that may sound kind of hurtful and unsympathetic to the surviving family members, but you know what? I'm telling you right now, I don't care if it's these three kids or what kids they are across the country. If they do this, they're not good boys or girls. Plain and simple. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Now, yeah, teenagers make stupid mistakes all the time. You and I, when we were teenagers, we did some stupid stuff. And we did some stuff that might even be construed as being illegal, that we probably could have been ticketed for, or maybe even arrested and charged with a minor offense. That probably that if we were charged with it and convicted of it, was probably, if we were good boys and girls, by the time we became 21, it was a sponge because it was, it happened when we were minors. That's the kind of, the pranks that kids do. Some of that stuff, breaking and entering with knives and weaponry is not a prank. And that's not the act of good kids. Stealing your neighborhood street sign, of which I didn't, but I had friends who did, is something stupid. Is something stupid that good kids do. But if they do it over and over again, or it leads to something else, it becomes a pattern. Today is a street sign. Tomorrow they steal somebody's, lawn ornaments, and then next thing you know, they're breaking into somebody's house. That's a pattern. That's not good boys. Good boys doing a stupid prank by stealing the street sign, yeah, that's dumb. You don't get shot over doing that. You get shot when you break and enter somebody's house with weapons. Am I wrong in thinking that, folks? Am I wrong with that type of thought process?
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
Welcome back. There is a story out of Dallas-Fort Worth that is probably not going to be surprised. Some of you are not going to be surprised by this, but some of you are going to be surprised. What just happened there? Some weird stuff has been going on lately, but anyway. Actually, this just in, I don't know how many of you heard it, but if you're a football fan, Tony Romo has decided to retire and go into broadcasting. And a few days ago, in related football coverage, it was noted that the aging but not aging, ever youthful Tom Brady would remain with the Patriots for another few years, well past 40. For him, what is he, like 38 now? 38, 39? So another, I think it was 5 years, right? Was it? So that would put him at like 42 or 43 by the time he says that he's going to be done. I don't have an issue with it. He can be 40 years old all he wants to if he can take it and he can do it. It's a long career for football, man. And quarterbacks are getting beat up nowadays, so it's not like it's not like they're pansies or anything. I mean, Brady has taken some shots and taken some hits, but he's He's like Jerry. He's the new Jerry Rice. Anybody remember Jerry Rice? Jerry Rice was this this very youthful, Hall of Famer that people didn't understand that as he aged, he got better and more youthful. And Jerry Rice, claimed that he was that way because of diet and exercise. His diet was allowed him to be youthful far longer than most. And Tom Brady recently has revealed the same thing, that he's got this real, and people have chastised his diet. That's not real, man. You can't really do that. But evidently he and his wife Giselle live by this diet. And hey, look, he's 38, 39 years old, still at the top of his game. He's not fading like Brett Favre. When Brett Favre tried to stay around for too long, Brett Favre faded. This is not Tom Brady. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe fading will start this year. I don't know. This could happen this season. But so far, he's not fading. He's only getting better. And that's what people said of Jerry Rice for a long time. And he was, a star wide receiver and tight end for years. So as long as he can do it, great. These other football stars might want to, start asking Jerry Rice and Tom Brady what the hell they were doing. What natural supplements are they taking, and what's their exercise regimen? What's their diet really like? And hell, I might actually start taking them up on their advice. Damn, man. I mean, these guys can do that in a sport or a profession that is very detrimental to the body. Oh, I played football. I know what it's like to be hit. It's not good for the bod, let me tell you. It's really not. So Tony Romo is going to retire, and Tom Brady is not retiring anytime soon. To the dismay of many people who are not Patriots fans. I'm not a Patriots fan either, but I kind of love it. I do. I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, people. I know baseball has just started up. The boys of summer are back. That's a good thing. It means spring is here, is around the corner. Warmer weather is around the corner, hopefully. Around here, warmer weather is around the corner. But and when summer gets here, usually by the time August comes around, then it's football season, basically. The preseason starts, and football will be back. And I happen to be a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I make no bones about it. I've been a Pittsburgh Steelers fan for decades. I'm not a huge Patriots fan. Even though I live in New England, I'm not a huge Patriots fan. But you know what? I don't hate on them. I don't hate on the Patriots. And I happen to love Tom Brady because the man is just so damn good at what he does. I'm in awe of his skill. And I know none of that came naturally. He's like Larry Bird. Larry Bird was not a beautiful, graceful basketball player. He was ugly on the court, but he was good because he put in the work. And that's Tom Brady. Tom Brady isn't pretty on the football field. He's not one of the most beautiful, graceful quarterbacks that we've seen. He's an ugly quarterback. I mean, well, not facial, but the way he plays the game. He's not graceful. He's kind of ugly. He's a lumbering kind of, big lumbering type of QB. But he is damn good, probably the best we will ever see at the sport. In that position. It's just amazing. I'm in awe of the man. Really. So, but I can't hate on the Patriots because they've had fantastic back office support, teamed up with great coaching, teamed up with great players. I mean, that's what every team wants. They want dynasties like that. People hated the Pittsburgh Steelers back in the iron or the steel curtain days too because they were so domineering on the field. I mean, what? In a span of a decade, they had eight divisional championships and 4 Super Bowl rings. I mean, or was it more than that? Wasn't it? No, they had 4 Super Bowl rings, and they never, under Terry Bradshaw, they never lost the Super Bowl. They were undefeated under Bradshaw's Super Bowl. So I mean, they had a number of different divisional titles during 8 divisional titles, I think. They lost in the. They won their division, but then when they go to play the semifinals, basically the conference, AFC, NFC, then they lost there. But they had, I think 8 divisional titles. take them to the conference title game. But they were undefeated in the Super Bowl up until that point. And people hated the Steelers. So I understand it, really do. But I'm not going to hate on the on the Pats because they're good. That's just, and they don't cheat. Sorry, folks, they don't. Well, I shouldn't say they don't cheat any more than any other team does. So the Deflategate thing, that was just a big brouhaha that meant absolutely nothing and would never have changed the outcome of the game. It wouldn't even have made it made it closer. It just, and I think the Patriots have proven that over and over again. They didn't need to do that, to cheat in any significant way. Every team cheats. I mean, come on. Even if it's just a small little thing on the field that they keep hidden from the refs, that's cheating. When you purposefully obfuscate the rules or you purposely go against the rules, that's cheating. Now, if you commit a foul, you do it by you don't intend to do it, but you do it. That's not cheating. That's a foul. It's kind of like in basketball. There are fouls and there are cheating. When you actually knowingly prevent somebody, you foul somebody to prevent them from scoring, that's cheating. If you happen to smack their hand while they're shooting, but you didn't mean to smack their hand, you wanted to smack the ball, but you got their hand, well, that's a foul. There is a difference. We've all, if you played sports, you've cheated. I've cheated. I've purposely fouled somebody, not so dangerous as to hurt them, but you purposely foul them so they do not score. Your coach even tells you, don't let them score. Don't let them score. Foul them so they don't score. And you do that. Well, that's cheating, actually. And now most of the time you don't get away with the cheat. If you foul somebody so bad that they can't score, well, you get called on it. And sometimes if it's too bad, it's called a flagrant foul and you get thrown out of the game. So you don't usually get away with it. But, I mean, there are cheats you can get away with and cheats you can't get away with. So, any case. Speaking of cheating, DFW, Dallas-Fort Worth area, there's a story out of NBC 5. Neighbors are pushing back after they discover drone over their backyards without warning. You'll be surprised to find out who is in charge of these drones. Neighbors in Hurst, Texas are now pushing back after a police drone hovered over their backyards without warning. Yes, Bobby Sanchez said the feeling of privacy disappeared when her child said, "Mommy, there's a drone over our roof." Now, Sanchez said it was hovering long enough for her to grab her camera and take photos and then call for help. They were watching my children play in the backyard, Sanchez said. I called the Hearst Police Department and was pretty surprised to hear them tell me it was them. The Hearst Police and Fire Department started using drones earlier this year. The day they found Sanchez's yard, they say, was a training exercise. You do not train over neighborhoods like that. Now, the department is already making changes. Any officer using the drone will now need high-level approval, and we will not be doing any type of training exercises over houses and things like that, said Hearst Police Assistant Chief Steve Niekamp, Niekamp. You don't do that anyway. Why do you need somebody to make a policy? I mean, that should have been standard policy. I told you, look, do you want an armed drone just hovering over your yard that way? And this stuff is coming, folks. Now what happens? What would have happened to them if this drone was actually over their property, spying on them, and somebody shot it down? The homeowner shut it down. Would the homeowner be in trouble? Well, you better believe it, because it's the police department government property. Now, if it's private property and somebody does it, then the private owner probably gets arrested. I'd still shoot it down. And I know you can't stop, because these cameras are pretty damn good on these things, and they don't need to be hovering over your property in order to take pictures of your property. They can be hovering over somebody else's property or even over the street, and you can't really do anything about it. But as soon as they cross the line and cross into my property, that's my domain. I'm protecting my domain, folks. I know. Just amazing that we're actually. See, I told you, technology is moving too far. I've mentioned this before in this program. It's moving too fast, too far, too fast before we even figure out how to properly use this stuff to the benefit of the greatest number of people. Instead, we're jumping ahead using this stuff, and it is causing all kinds of problems, and people are going to get hurt and even killed before we figure this stuff out. And that's not the way it needs to be. We could figure this stuff out pretty quickly if we put our minds to it, but nobody's willing to do it. We're willing to just go along and figure it out as we go. We should not be doing that because it's going to get dangerous really fast. Really, really fast. It is, folks. It's going to get too damn fast. It's unbelievable. U.S. withdraws funding for UN Population Fund. You should be happy to note this. The State Department said yesterday it was ending U.S. funding for the United Nations Population Fund, the international body's agency focused on family planning, as well as material and child health in more than 150 countries. In a letter to U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee Chairman Bob Corker, the State Department said it was dropping the funding because the UN Population Fund, the UNFPA, supports or participates in the management of a program of coercive abortion or involuntary sterilization. I told you the UN was an evil entity. And Trump is not having any part of this stuff. Whatever evil that the UN does, Trump wants no part of it. So many of you should probably, who don't like the UN anyway, I'm not a fan of the UN, will probably like the idea that Trump is cutting off funding, program by program, department by department in the UN, United Nations. And if that's the way, look, I've always said it, if you can't get the whole elephant, just take it one bite at a time. Defund it by program. Give pertinent reason why you're defunding a program. This is a good pertinent reason. You're not for abortion, government-sponsored abortion, so you don't want to put your money towards anything that's going to sponsor that anywhere on the planet. Pull your funding. And by the time you get done pulling from various different departments, you're not funding that whole organization anymore, even or most parts of it. And your billions now comes down to probably, just hundreds of millions, which is a lot better. It's not zero, but we're getting there. So it does take time. This all didn't happen overnight. We didn't build up to this overnight, folks. So you got to be patient with Trump dismantling this. Has to be piecemeal. It was put together piecemeal, so now it has to be dismantled piecemeal. You can't just dismantle it all at once. I mean, first of all, there would be too much backlash. But if you do it piece by piece and give full, detailed, reasonable, logical explanation for taking apart this piece and that piece, you're going to get a lot less resistance. And you're going to get a lot more support. And that's a great explanation. Look, we're defunding this part of the UN because this is what they do. Now, who in the U.S., who's a diplomat in the U.S., who's pro-life, would be against that? Nobody. See how that works? But, I thought Trump was stupid. Hell, stupid old Trump. He's a neophyte. He's inexperienced. He doesn't know what he's doing. I find that hilarious. That's what they used to, isn't it amazing how they always say that of the only recent, Nixon was a criminal in the leftist mind, but the only president who wasn't a stupid president that was a Republican since Nixon was George Herbert Walker Bush. Gerald Ford was an idiot, and he was clumsy, and he was a klutz. And Ronald Reagan had Alzheimer's even before his first inauguration. And GW, he's just an idiot. And now Trump doesn't know what he's doing. Trump is stupid. He doesn't know what he's doing. Yeah, forget the fact that, he's a multi-billionaire, made his fortune more than once. negotiated unbelievable deals over the past 30 years or so. He's an idiot, though. He doesn't know what he's doing. And the only smart presidents we've ever had in the past 50 years have been Democrats. Anybody notice that? The only Republican president I have not heard them call stupid. Maybe I missed some of that was George Herbert Walker Bush 1, or Bush Sr. He was the only one. Ford was an idiot. Reagan was an idiot. GW was an idiot. That's the standard playbook, is mantra in the playbook of the left. Just call the Republican president an idiot, right? You can't make this stuff up, really, folks. Can't make it up.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
Yes, indeed, some new bumper music right there. Very dramatic. Gotta love it. Still, can I say I have a beef to pick with the pay per or the pay channels, like Netflix and HBO. Y'all, is this the last season of House of Cards? Because you pushed it off until May. And this is speculated this is the last season of Game of Thrones because they pushed it off until July. Why you do that? Why you guys do? I'm mad at you. You can't be doing that. I don't watch a lot of TV, but the things I do watch, I want to see. Who knows? Maybe there's some new. There'll be some new programs coming out about the Russian Gate thing here. New York Post is actually printing something about fresh evidence. The Russia scandal is a Team Obama operation. Yeah, New York Post. If you suspect the noise over the Trump campaign contacts with the Russians is just a political hit arranged by Obama insiders before they left, you got fresh evidence of that Monday with the news that the National Security Advisor Susan Rice was behind the unmasking of Trumpites and transcripts of calls with Russian officials. Yeah. I've often thought that there was more than meets the eye, and of course, a lot of this is coming forth that this is being proven to be actual and factual. That that the Obama administration was behind this, which is why I keep saying, what the hell is going on? Where is Obama right now? Nobody can find him or get a hold of him to put a microphone in front of him and question him. Valerie Jarrett, who we know moved into his new D.C. mansion, hasn't been seen, at least in press terms. It hasn't been seen for months now. And now the face of this whole thing is Susan Rice. Is she being thrown under the bus? Look, they can throw whoever they want under the bus. They're not going to save their butts this time. Unless there is really more than meets the eye to all this. And there are people in the Republican side who are behind some of this too. Let me tell you when this thing is going to get too deep to some of the biggest heads out there. You can have the small and medium-sized heads rolling. Their heads can roll. The fat heads rarely roll. So when this thing gets stopped, when it abruptly stops, that's when you know we're getting too close to the ringmasters, to the ringleaders. Now, who are the ringleaders? We can surmise at the moment. The evidence is pointing towards a certain few. But we're not going to find the evidence, or at least the evidence is not going to be released of the real. I'll be surprised if the real ringleaders of this whole mess, this whole debacle, are actually brought forth and brought to justice. This whole investigation, I guarantee you, is going to abruptly stop at some point before we get that far. I'm just saying. I'm just putting 2 and 2 together here, folks. That's all. 2 and 2 is still 4 to me. It isn't 5. But there is some really strange stuff that is afoot that we're not supposed to know. Susan Rice was behind this. But now that we do, they're tossing her out there. They're throwing her under the bus. Trust me, that was a mistake about us finding out about Susan Rice. We were not supposed to know that. Nunes better watch his back because he found some of this stuff out inadvertently. And now that's not good for him, I don't think. But we'll have to wait and see where all that goes. In any case, that sound means that we're out of time for today. But be back here tomorrow in about 21 hours or so, and we'll do it all over again. This is the program that talks about the important news that the other talking heads won't touch, but I will. So until then, my friends, have yourself a wonderful Tuesday afternoon. Thanks for listening. I'm Rod Eccles. See you tomorrow. I'm out.
Feels good to be Clinton. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A shameless politician always plays her cards right. Got a crew for the fight on the airwaves. Lapdogs in the press keep their mouths tight. Cause a Clinton never needs to explain what, why it is what they done or with who. A real Clinton knows that they're entitled, and you don't get to know what they do.
What difference does it make?
For Clinton, what's loaded in some fat apple file? A Clinton plays a victim for promotion. A Clinton kills it off with a smile. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A server full of secrets ain't no thing. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. Nothing ever hits with the sting.